Okay, the next machine I'm going to oil is the Singer 500A, which is the same as the Singer 500. The A just designated a different manufacturing plant. So the first thing I'm going to do is, I've already taken my needle out and my foot off. I'm going to take my bobbin out. You don't need that. You'll notice this is the top loading bobbin. We'll take the lid off here. Again, I'm being really careful not to scratch the paint on the sides of the screw hole. Okay. Just going to pop the screws back into the lid so I don't lose them. I'm going to move my towel over also. And this machine, you'll notice, is completely different on the inside than the other one. It's the Singers were manufactured, the way the mechanics works in the machine is just totally different from almost all of the sewing machines that were manufactured at the time. I don't know that it makes it sew any better. I do like having it. It's a great machine. It's not. I don't find the stitches are any better or worse than any other machine. Once it's all done, it's all the same. Just what you prefer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing where I'm going to run the machine. You notice it sounds very different. And one of the reasons it sounds different is because it uses gears instead of a belt to drive the machinery. There's a, you won't really be able to see this, but there's a gear right here that comes up and drives another gear. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick a little oil down in there. Again, this is my bobbin winder tire here, so I'm going to not get any oil on that. But anything that has a hole in it, it's probably meant for a little bit of oil to go in there. Let's see, there's a hole over here. There's one down here. If you miss a spot, if you're oiling your machines consistently, then if you miss a spot, you'll probably end up picking it up next time. But that's pretty much all there is on the top of this machine. I could probably get some oil down on this cam stuck mechanism somehow. Let's take a look here. Let's see. There is some holes. I'll stick a little oil down in there. I don't really know if that's gonna do much. There's a hole on top here, and I'll stick some oil down in there. If you're using the right oil, the excess oil will evaporate anyway, and it won't leave a residue. This machine has a little bit of residue from old oil. So, and now here on the side, I've got the same thing. I've got my needle bar. I'm gonna put some oil there. Some oil on my presser foot lift. And I'm going to go in here. This is my thread uptake mechanism. I'm just going to give that a little oil. A lot of times if you'll see a hole on top, that's often so you can access an oiling point. So I'm going to go ahead and put some oil down through that hole. You won't be able to see it, but there's a spot for oil to go there. Now I'm going to go ahead and carefully lay the machine back. Take this cover off. This machine's got a cover that goes over the bottom mechanics, which is kind of cool. It has this sort of cardboardy stuff, which is great because that soaks up the excess oil. So this has gears on the bottom here. The gears have grease on them, so I'm not really going to need to be oiling any of the gears that have grease. Let's see if you can see that. See how there's a gear here, gear mechanism here, and a gear right here. So besides that, there's just a couple little spots here. If I was getting really serious about this, I could oil up the gears, but I've just done that recently, so I don't really need to do that again. That's a little messier than the oiling. So once that's done, I'm just gonna pop the lid back on. Or the bottom cover, I suppose we could call it. And one last thing is to get a little drop of oil here on my bobbin, the bobbin area where the hook is. You know, we've been talking about it, I don't want to over oil it because it'll get messy. If you just stick a drop on top there, it'll feed in. And that's all there is to it. Okay, the last machine we have to do here is a Dressmaker. Again, I'm going to take the needle out, pop the foot off, and take out the bobbin case. Take the lid off the machine. Again, some simple screws. This machine is a little bit funny. One of the screws is bent, so it doesn't unscrew as easily as it should. And it moves the lid around while you're doing it, so you have to be really careful not to scratch the paint. Oops. There we go. You can see again, it's very simple here on the inside. I'm just going to go ahead and, there's an oiling access point here. Stick some oil down in there, some around here, some on top of here, and some here. This is a Japanese-made machine, and it's Japanese. They're called Japanese clones. Machines that were produced in that, the late 50s, early 60s, and they're known for being extremely smooth running machines. So when this is all oiled up, it just sounds so. Most of the sound you hear is coming from the cogged belt, is that scrunching sound. It's very quiet, very nice machine. And these were really, they were somewhat in, compared to like the Necki and the Singer Rocketeer, the 500A. These were inexpensive machines at the time, and so you could pick these up. You could get them cheaper then, and it means that they're definitely more accessible and cheaper now. And you'll see these marketed under all kinds of different names. Montgomery Ward, Sears, Kenmore's. So what we're going to do now is flip this up. You can see the underside here. It's very pretty though. This one's in really great condition. There's a little bit of oil varnish here, that's that yellow. So I'm just going to stick some oil on everything that looks like it moves. Some oil access point here. Stick some oil here. Some right here. And down here. Let's set the machine for zigzag so I can see what's. There we go. And again, I take this. This machine hasn't been used, so there's no lint here. But I could take the cover off, same with the Supernova, and get the lint out of there if there was lint. And that's all there is to it. So this is oiling up a Japanese made clone from the early 60s.